But so we live in that trauma-based paradigm, every single one of us. And it has been generation after generation after generation after culture after culture after civilization of war culture, divide and conquer consciousness, consumerism as a base value, the human doing as a cog in the machine versus a human being. And that, my friends, is built into the entire structure of the reality that you and I operate in this game that we call life. It's in our banking, it's in our commerce, it's in our educational system, it's in our media, it's in our language, it's even in the words we use, and it's in how we think. It's in our left brain being overactivated over our right brain hemisphere. It's in our families, it's in our family structure, it's in our family tree, it's in our genealogy, and it's been passed down trauma-based pattern after trauma-based pattern, so that the entire culture and way that we experience reality is seen through the eyes of the work ethic, the doing ethic, the us versus them binary, the me versus you system of logical sequencing, the hierarchical left to right, step to step way of viewing the entire system. That has been entrenched into us through trauma, so that war and the what is now the fiat-based economic structure continues to perpetuate more concentrated wealth for a very small group of people. That's the reality we live in. It's not pretty. And it exists through trauma. Trauma is the bedrock. Trauma is needed within the individual, within the community, within the family, within the entire society. Because if we didn't have it, we would love each other unconditionally, and we would refuse to go to war. And we'd be conscious. And then the entire system would fall apart. So there is a recognition that there is a frame of consciousness holding the individual trauma, and that the individual trauma, whether it's attachment trauma or critical incident trauma or PTSD or wartime trauma, there is an understanding that that microcosm experience of trauma is connected directly to a meso level experience of trauma, which is trauma in the community around. The lack of resources, the isolation, the internalized stigmatization, the internalized shaming from consumer culture for being less than, for being broken, for being unproductive. Okay, so there's the microcosm, there's the meso at the community and societal level, and there's the macro trauma consciousness that holds it all in place, which is that you are a collection of molecules, you are a biometric structure, you are a cog in the machine, you are measured based on your worth in consumeristic, capitalistic, war-based society, and it's you against them, success against failure. That's the trauma system of consciousness that holds the whole thing in place. And so the only way to bust through that system is through what some teachers would call an awakening. To bust through that illusion and experience who you are outside of the matrix, the binary, the 3D.